I'm going to show you how to form an LLC, a limited liability company. We're going to start by going to google.com, type in the state that you live in or the state that you want to form your LLC in. I'm going to use the state of Kansas since that's where I live. Type in your state and then business or business center, whatever it takes to find the website where your state governs or manages businesses that reside within that state. For here, it's Kansas Business Center works, takes me to the Kansas Business Center, and then this Can Access site. Now, I've already established an account. You'll have to do that within your state. Now, if your state does not have a good website for establishing an LLC, there's always LegalZoom. I do recommend LegalZoom if you want to go that route. It will cost you a little extra money. I used LegalZoom to form my first LLC for my property management company when I was living in Georgia. But since then, most of the states have such a good website that I just go directly to that state website, establish an account, and go from there. So I'm going to show you how the Kansas one works. And most of the states are going to be fairly similar to this. I've entered my account, and you can see here at the top we have new business. And then I actually have a few companies established within the state of Kansas, speaking of heroes, Joe's Properties that I use to manage my properties with, rental properties. A Smart Idea is kind of an all-encompassing LLC. And down here at the bottom, KC Concepts, which I just went in and reserved the name ahead of time. So you see KC Concepts there. This is actually my wife's company that she's going to use to rehab homes with here in the Kansas City area. And now I'm going to go in and continue to form the LLC. Individual company, continue. And then what they're getting at here is they want you to put the term LLC after the name of the company. Either LLC, the previous page it gave you options. You could spell out limited liability company. You could use L period, C period, or just LLC, which is what I chose. So if KC Concept is owned by an individual, I'm going to put her name and information here as the owner of the company. She is actually here with me while I'm doing this, so she knows all about it. Put the address in. This might be a case where you have a different location for your LLC if you don't want to make it your home address. A lot of folks do that for some additional protection so that in case the LLC was brought into a lawsuit, there would be no chance of your home address or your home being pulled into it. Individual, and we'll continue. That's the business organizer. Again, I'm going to put her name in as the name of the organizer. And then you can add additional people. If you're married, you may want to put your spouse on there. This is not where you'd really want to be a partner. If you have an actual partner, you would want to be doing a partnership LLC. This is an individual LLC. And here at the top, you can see it says Limited Liability Company Articles of Organization. I'm going to enter the email address for them to contact and keep up to date on anything pertaining to the LLC. I'm actually entering both of our email addresses here on the same line, separated by a semicolon, which is how most websites do it. I'm going to enter her name as her signature. I agree. And except for paying for it, we're done. That's how you form an LLC. So I'm going to continue to check out. They'll put some payment information in there. I'm going to pay with a credit card. And the price here for the state of Kansas is $160. That's the amount that goes straight to the state. Now, if you were to use LegalZoom, I would have to pay this $160 plus whatever the LegalZoom fee is. They may charge, I'm not really sure, maybe $100, $150 on top of this as their fee. And again, LegalZoom has some really good forms. It's very user-friendly. If the state that you're forming your LLC in is not so user-friendly, LegalZoom is definitely an option. And it's just as simple as this here on the Kansas website. So now I'm just entering my payment information. And once I get my payment information completed, I'm going to go back and show you the Articles of Incorporation. This is just a standard format that the state of Kansas uses, and each state has its own. And there's really not much to it. Sometimes you will hear Articles of Incorporation that can be very complicated or very sophisticated. And you can really get as complicated or as sophisticated as you like. But in this case, this is just a basic LLC. My wife is just using it to rehab homes. We just want the liability protection in case something goes wrong with one of the houses, where our own personal assets will not come into play if the business gets pulled into some kind of a lawsuit. So it really doesn't have to be any more convoluted or complicated than that. Certainly would recommend, if you do have something a little more complicated or sophisticated, to go ahead and bring in a lawyer or attorney to help draw up some of those articles of incorporation. And simple things like, how will the LLC be passed on in the event of your death, passed on to your spouse, your children, how you leave it in a will. Things like that are the most common things that you would want to put in articles of incorporation. Now, if there's multiple people that own the LLC, it gets complicated real quick if you have other additional owners and additional people with an interest in the LLC. But in this case, it's just my wife's LLC, so it's very simple. Limited liability company articles of organization. There it is. That's really all you need to show that you are the valid owner of an LLC registered in the state of Kansas. There you have it. From the Secretary of State. When you come back in, I can look in my account here for Kansas. I can look at my other companies that I own. And down here at the bottom, you see KC Concepts. And it's now there under the date filed. You can see today's date where the company now exists. And that's all you need to do to start your own LLC.